kind of a little bit of a randomness to my day of how I'm gonna do my birthday. Obviously, I had all these plans where I was like, dude, that'd be pretty cool if I could do that or do that. I released a video kind of how I was feeling, and I still got a little bit of my cold congestion. I don't think I'm contagious. I had this thing for like a week or so now. It's been kind of lingering. Luckily, I'm not like, you know, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see me worse than this, but fortunately, it's not happening. And I probably laugh at it too in my mind to be like, if it was worse, I'd be probably laughing. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Even at my own situation, they can hate me for that as well. Um, but I guess I'll go through one of my rescues that I did. I always try to hold on to a lot of things, record them. It's like my private life has been blown so open to the public that maybe that's the reason why I don't have an issue with coming. I'm one of the only people that I know that has ever taken a route to actually talk like this in social media or whatever, and people want to try and cancel me and try to do those kind of things because they don't like, because they got that could be a camera in here right now watching me do this. Like, that's just the way I feel, and if they have a problem with that, I don't know what to tell them. You know what I'm saying? So like, um, yeah, and I think most people understand as to why or how I would feel that way. But yeah, I guess I'll go of the Christmas where I had my hand in saving. I think it was like 3 or 4 people. See, I wish I recorded this better back in the day. I think on my Instagram, maybe when it happened, I have maybe was closer to that time. But I remember it was Christmas time, and I was at my friend's house. Maybe what that was 2019, 2018, before things really in my life started to get really interesting as far as people following me and stuff like that. And this could have been that thing where it's like, oh, we're really gonna follow you now, Dan. Was being involved in that rescue. Honestly, I had no business going down to Black Rock that day. Black Rock is kind of poly. It's an unprotected beach by lifeguards. There's no lifeguards over there. Dangerous situations kind of occur, kind of like here, how I scope out things and been able to make some rescues here, doing the same thing. Maybe this is what got me in trouble. Maybe this type of behavior is what really got me in trouble. It wasn't my job. I wasn't a first responder. I just simply worked in the area and knew when situations can get out of hand over there, and I was just acting as a good Samaritan, while I was doing these saves. So yeah, it was Christmas. I was up kind of Poly Hillside, maybe a mile or two away from my work. I was lucky enough to get invited to kind of like a family style like Christmas, and I knew that one of my good friends there that I talked to, Caroline, I've known her since I moved to Maui, was working down at the beach center, and I was like, hey, can I take some cookies, some food down to her? I I've grown up watching her. She's always been nice to me. We chat about whatever. Very, about she's a fellow paddler. Her life kind of revolves a lot around the water and loving that kind of lifestyle. So I'm like, I'll go down there and bring her down some food. Because I know she's working today, and just yeah, so I ended up bringing her down some cookies or something like that, and just kind of bullshit for a while, talk, and then while I was bullshitting, her snorkel shack where she worked was actually fronting Black Rock, and where you see people snorkeling, and it was actually a really crummy day, like one of those rare kind of like not the greatest beach days or whatever, and while I was talking to her, I looked at the current and I noticed the Kona wind coming in, and I said, well, wow, this could be pretty bad. And I saw the waves starting to pick up and everything like that. I was like, wow, this could be pretty bad. With the Kona winds, I'm like, that's going to create a reverse rip current. So if anybody, and Christmas is like the biggest day where people come and enjoy the beach. And even though it's Maui, kind of was like this overcast day or whatever, I saw a bunch of younger folks like marching up the shore like they were gonna go out, and I was like, oh shoot, like they don't know, like this could be bad, like so I just knew that these currents were bad. So I said, and I saw a couple people paddle out and like not paddle out. They swam out with their with snorkel gear or whatever. And I'm just like, I didn't even like that idea to begin with. I shouldn't have even been down there to begin with, to be honest. But I'm like, all right, it's Christmas. I don't even want to deal with this right now. But I'm like, here, give me a bodyboard, Caroline. I'll go out in the water, and just in case somebody runs into trouble, I'll just be out there automatic, like I'll be in the water automatic just in case somebody runs into trouble. And then sure enough, while I'm out there, I see somebody get washed up on the rocks, and they look kind of a little bit like, I don't know what's going on out here. I ended up just being right next to this guy who just got caught in a rip current, and I kicked him in. And then I stood out there and I saw another dude that wasn't almost making it, and I kicked in next to him, making sure that he could get through the current. And then I started, once I got the guy to the beach, the first guy to the beach, I remember I did call the security where I work. I'm on the phone with them saying, like, hey, you guys need to get down here. I just pulled the guy out of the water. He looks like he's kind of deprived on oxygen. If you guys can get down here as soon as possible. I'm like, there's something going on out here, that type of a mood, type of an attitude. I'm talking to the guys that I work with now, but I'm off for the day, and I just decided to come in. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty bad down here. I'm like, get down here. And even while they were doing that, so they got that guy on oxygen. I said, it looked like he had some water, had ingested a lot of water. So I guess one of the things was like, we had to keep him. I'm like, here, I had my knee up against him, keeping him upright. So I guess whenever you ingest a lot of water like that, I guess you're not supposed to like lay down, because that's when the water will kind of, I believe that is, if it's in your system, it can asphyxiate you. So if you ever ingest, I think the main thing is you want to try to stay upright if you swallow a lot of water. So when they responded and they finally got to him, I went back out, and just as I got back out there, there was like two kids that were like, I don't know, they might have been like, anywhere from 18, maybe 22 years old max. They were like, one of them was basically blue, right? Like, and they were being brought in, and we were trying really hard to kick in these two people that got caught in the same rip current, and it was hard. Like, I remember kicking them in so hard. Like, this guy was barely breathing. Like, he was gasping for air. His eyes were bulged. He was all blue. Like if we weren't on top of it, I think like the fact that I was out there already doing saves and people saw me doing this, like people in the area might have had a little bit more experience, and they're like, we know what Dan's doing. So we helped kick these people in. And yeah, it was a guy and a girl, and if like we weren't on top of these things, like it became like a we situation where I was originally out there trying to draw attention to be like, dude, this is crazy. Yeah, we kicked them in, and luckily they came out, and I believe everybody survived. It was a good feel good story for me to be like, wow, I actually did this on Christmas. Like, I don't know if I'll ever have another story on Christmas that I'll ever be able to tell anyone, or saving someone's life on this day that we consider probably in America like our most special day. Like, yeah, this is just another one of those things that I remember being involved in, and I remember feeling so proud, feeling so happy, feeling like, that I did something good. And yeah, and this is just one of the many, many saves that I've been on, and yeah, this will probably get devalued. It's my birthday, so I figure, I'll try to recount that day. And yeah, it's just one of those things that, yeah, I'd want to get out there in my own words, and because I'm glad that I've been on top of these latest saves, because it's like, what else am I going to do, really? You know what I'm saying? Like, what else am I going to... Like, they already know these things are in my head. They already can see them. So I'm like, I might as well just talk about them, and not be so apprehensive, because I'm like, well, Dan, why would you do social media? Why would you? Like, because when you feel like you're being watched all the time, and you feel like these things are your reality, what's the big deal of me coming up and talking like this to someone? Like, that takes away, even if I don't have the right words and I can't articulate the way I want to, there's still like zero fear for me to just talk like this. And I think that, like, I don't know anybody that I've ever grew up with or anything like that where I can just sit here, turn them on, and watch them like this and just explain certain things or what happened to them or what's going on. Which I'm like, yeah, it's like, what do I got to fear anymore about anything? When I know they're probably right here, right now, watching. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you want me to do? All right, so I am out, and hopefully, I'll just have a decent day, and just try to get things accomplished regardless. I mean, I don't know what else I can do. Yeah, one of the other things that I wanted to just quickly add is, I remember bringing those two people in. I remember that it was like the rip currents were that intense. So the people that started to notice what was going on. I remember a bunch of people, I think they were involved in the beach activities group. I think they made a chain, like a literal human chain, where they were going hand in hand. And I remember that actually helped us kick in a little bit left, that last like 10 yards. Like they formed a human chain. And I remember we literally had to grab them onto them for them to pull us up. And yeah, I remember that being pretty intense about that save. So whoever did that, like, thankfully, like, we needed to get in as soon as possible. And I remember I was one of the people, like, I remember when I saw this dude, like, his eyes, and he was all blue, I started, because I don't even think they called medics yet or anyone. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I remember going, call 911, call 911, call 911. Like, I lost my voice just like this past week. I was the one doing that out in the water, and I think I saw them run after that to know the severity of the people that we brought in, So then after that, 911 was on their way, and they might have not even been. It might have been another 3 minutes to the point where they were responding if I wasn't screaming that out there. Like, luckily I was the one in the water to be able to scream at the top of my lungs. Once I took a look at this guy, and I'm like, yo, this isn't like the guy on the beach. This guy could go out. Like, he could drown. We could bring him to the beach and he could drown right there. Like, that's how much water it's called a dry drowning, which has actually happened while I was kind of present before. Like, I've heard of dry drownings of people being like, no, I'm fine, I'm good. I can walk off this beach, and then boom, it hits them that they had so much water in their system. They've been depleted of oxygen to the point where they look like they were fine. So a lot of times when I see people ingest a lot of water, I'm like, dude, you should go get checked out a little bit more if that's what happened out there, because you can experience a dry drowning. And yeah, like, that's another thing, like, people don't realize is these things actually happen where people can go off the beach. And I have an experience or two of actually hearing that and being like, wait, the dude walked off, he was fine, and then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that people just don't know or understand that actually probably happens sometimes, and need to take that into account as well.